In the scorched vastness of the Sonoran Desert, Apache Navarro finds her curled beneath the bridge, a woman with no voice, no memory, and a swollen belly that defies medical explanation. For 30 years, he'd walked these canyons alone, a man, more comfortable with silence than conversation. Now, he watches as doctors point to scans showing only shadow where a child should be. Not pregnant, they insist, just something else. Against better judgment, Apache brings her to his cabin, far from prying eyes. Days become weeks, weeks become months. The woman he calls Mara begins to speak, but her belly never changes. Instead, the desert itself seems to shift around them, ancient rock carvings rearranging overnight, animals gathering at dawn, twin suns burning in Apache's dreams. What exactly is growing inside Mara? Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The desert awakens before the sun. Apache Navarro knows this truth, like he knows his own weathered hands. At 4:30, his eyes open to darkness. No alarm needed after 30 years of the same routine. He rises from his narrow bed, joints protesting with familiar stiffness. 54 years have etched themselves into his body 15 as a park ranger in this remote corner of the Sonoran Desert National Monument. Before that, military service that left scars both visible and hidden, and before that, a childhood on Navajo land where his grandfather taught him to listen to the desert. The coffee pot gurgles on the propane stove. Apache slides his ranger badge into his pocket without looking at it. The silver shield has become less about authority and more about permission to be alone, to patrol these canyons and washes where few people venture. His cabin sits 20 miles from the nearest paved road. Solar panels provide modest electricity. A satellite phone offers reluctant connection to the outside world. Water comes from a deep well that taps an ancient aquifer. It is enough. Through the window, pre-dawn gray reveals the silhouettes of saguaro cacti standing like sentinels. Apache sips his coffee black and watches a family of javelinas rooting beneath a mesquite tree. They sense him watching, but don't flee. After years, the wildlife has accepted his presence. The dream lingers in his mind. Twin suns setting over the western ridgeline, their light casting double shadows across the sand. It's been recurring for months now, growing more vivid each time. Apache doesn't believe in omens, but his grandfather would have said differently. He dresses methodically, khaki uniform, sturdy boots worn to the contours of his feet, wide-brimmed hat that shields his dark eyes from the punishing sun. The routine grounds him after the disorientation of the dream. The radio crackles as he checks in with headquarters. "Morning, Apache," comes the voice of Dina, the dispatch coordinator. "All quiet overnight. Heading out on East Patrol," he responds, voice rough from disuse. "Checking the old bridge sector." "Roger that. Director Simmons wants to see you when you get back. Something about lights reported in your area." Apache grunts acknowledgement. Probably campers where they shouldn't be, or drug runners using the remote trails. Either way, it's his responsibility. His truck starts with a rumble that disturbs a roadrunner perched on his porch rail. The bird races alongside the vehicle for several yards before veering off into the brush. Apache allows himself a small smile. The roadrunner has greeted him this way for 3 years now. 40 minutes of driving brings him to the old bridge. Built in the 1930s and long abandoned when the highway was rerouted, the concrete structure spans a dry wash that floods only during the rare desert rains. Most visitors overlook it entirely, but Apache stops here every patrol. He parks and approaches, on foot, boots crunching on gravel. The bridge's underside is covered with petroglyph, some ancient, carved by indigenous hands centuries ago, others more recent additions from the bridge's construction era. Apache runs calloused fingers over. the spiral patterns that speak of water and fertility in the desert language. Today, something feels different. Apache can't identify what has changed, but unease prickles at the back of his neck. The birds are quieter than usual. A coyote watches from the ridgeline when normally they avoid human scent. Back in his truck, he radios headquarters. Dina, any reports of hikers or activity near Sector 7? Negative, Apache. Been quiet all week. Why? You got something? Just checking. He doesn't mention the strange feeling. After 15 years, they already think of him as the odd one, a solitary ranger who speaks more to animals than people. At noon, Apache returns to the ranger station, a low adobe building surrounded by service vehicles. Inside, the air conditioning battles the heat without much success. 3 other rangers nod greetings, but don't interrupt their paperwork to engage him in conversation. They respect his work, but have long stopped trying to include him in their social circles. Director Simmons beckons from his office doorway. Mid-60s, with sun-leathered skin and a perpetual expression of mild worry, Simmons has managed the monument for decades. Navarro, got a minute? Apache follows him inside, removing his hat. 3 separate reports of strange lights in your sector last week, Simmons says, pointing to a map. Around the old bridge area. Anything unusual on your patrols? Nothing. Apache replies. Wildlife acting a little strange today. That's all. Simmons studies him? You know that area better than anyone. Keep your eyes open, all right? Could be smugglers using new signal methods. Apache nods, already anticipating his return to solitude. The conversation has used up his daily quota of words. Evening patrol always feels different. The desert transforms as shadows lengthen, temperatures drop, and creatures emerge from daytime hiding. Apache prefers these hours when the land reveals its true nature. His truck follows familiar ruts toward the old bridge. The setting sun paints the sandstone cliffs in shades of amber and blood. Pulling to a stop, Apache retrieves his leather-bound journal from the glove compartment, a habit born after the dreams began. He records their details with methodical precision. Dates, times, sensations, changes. The twin suns now appear 3 nights a week, their positioning shifting gradually toward alignment. Apache doesn't share these records with anyone. The department psychologist would have a field day, and he's not interested in becoming someone's case study. Tucking the journal away, he approaches the bridge on foot. The evening breeze carries the scent of creosote and dust. As he nears the concrete structure, something catches his eye. The petroglyphs seem altered somehow. The spiral patterns appear sharper, the ancient symbols rearranged in subtle ways. Apache frowns, pulling out his digital camera. He photographs the markings carefully, planning to compare them with previous images. A trick of light, perhaps, or his mind making connections that aren't there. He crouches, examining the ground beneath the bridge. Unusual impressions mark the sand, not the 3-toed tracks of roadrunners or the padded prints of coyotes. These are vaguely human but distorted, as if someone walked with an irregular gait or unusual footwear. His radio crackles, making him flinch. Static bursts through the speaker before Dina's voice emerges. Fragmented ... double quotes Apache ... repeat ... return ... He adjusts the frequency, but the interference continues. Strange reception is usually clear at this location. Apache clicks the transmit button. Say again, headquarters. Your signal is breaking up. More static than silence. Apache clips the radio back to his belt. He'll try again from higher ground. That's when he hears it, a soft, pained exhalation from deeper beneath. The bridge. Apache's hand moves instinctively to his sidearm, though he rarely has cause to draw it. Park Service, he calls, voice steady. Identify yourself. No response comes, but another sounds something between a whimper and a sigh. He retrieves his flashlight, its beam cutting through the gathering darkness. The light reveals nothing. At first, then catches on something pale against the shadowed earth. A woman lies curled on her side, body coated in desert dust. Her clothes are tattered, unidentifiable scraps. Dark hair, matted with dirt, obscures her face. Most striking is her swollen belly, prominently rounded like a woman in advanced pregnancy. Apache approaches cautiously, keeping his light steady. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" The woman doesn't respond, but her chest rises and falls with shallow breaths. Kneeling beside her, Apache checks her pulse, rapid but present. Her skin feels cool despite the lingering heat of the day. No visible injuries, but her condition is clearly dire. "I'm going to help you," he says, unsure if she can hear him. "You're safe now." The words unlock something deep within his memory. Another woman, another promise of safety broken 15 years ago. His wife Maria, 7 months pregnant with their first child, both lost when a drunk driver crossed the center line on the reservation highway. The accident that sent Apache retreating into the desert, away from attachments and their inevitable loss. Pushing the memory aside, Apache calls for emergency services on his satellite phone, the radio still producing only static. He provides coordinates, describes the woman's condition, requests medical evacuation. While waiting, he drapes his jacket over her and offers water. She doesn't respond to his voice, but swallows reflexively when he moistens her cracked lips. In the beam of his flashlight, something catches his attention. A small movement beneath her stretched shirt. The rounded belly seems to shift, as if something inside changes position. A normal sign of pregnancy, yet something about the movement disturbs him. The medical helicopter arrives 30 minutes later, rotors whipping the desert into dust devils. 2 paramedics approach with a stretcher and equipment. The younger one, Todd, kneels beside the woman. "How long has she been here?" he shouts over the helicopter noise. "Unknown," Apache responds. "Found her during routine patrol." The older paramedic, Melissa, checks vitals while Todd prepares in 4-line. Her experienced hands move across the woman's abdomen, then pause. She presses again, frowning. "Something's not right," she says, glancing at her partner. The mass doesn't feel like a normal pregnancy. "What do you mean?" Apache asks. "Can't be sure," Melissa replies, preparing the stretcher. "But I've delivered 300 babies, and this doesn't feel like any of them. We need to get her to Tucson Medical Center." As they lift the woman, her eyes flutter open briefly. Dark eyes, disoriented and afraid, lock onto Apache's face with sudden intensity. Recognition flashes in them, though Apache is certain he's never seen her before. Her lips move, forming words without sound, before her eyes close again. Apache watches the helicopter lift away, carrying the mysterious woman toward medical help. By protocol, he should file his report and continue his patrol. Instead, he finds himself following in his truck, drawn by the strange connection in that momentary gaze and a feeling he hasn't experienced in 15 years. Responsibility for another human being. Tucson Medical Center hums with the controlled chaos of emergency medicine. Apache sits in the waiting area, a statue among the anxious crowd. He's called in his situation to headquarters, officially logging it as assisting with a rescue. Director Simmons granted him the rest of the night off, unusual for Apache to request anything. 3 hours pass before a doctor emerges. Ranger Navarro? I'm Dr. Elena Reyes, obstetrics. She's younger than Apache expected, early 40s with intelligent eyes and a direct manner. She leads him to a small consultation room. "The woman you found is stable but unconscious," Dr. Reyes begins. "No identification, no match in missing persons databases yet." "And her condition?" Apache asks. Dr. Reyes hesitates, then turns a computer monitor toward him. "This is where things get complicated. The screen shows a scan of the woman's abdomen. Apache isn't medically trained, but even he can tell something is wrong. Instead of the clear outline of a fetus, an amorphous shadow fills the woman's womb. "That's not a baby," he says flatly. "No," Dr. Reyes agrees. "At least, not as we understand it. My colleagues are baffled. It appears to be organic tissue, but its structure doesn't match anything in our medical literature. Not a tumor, not a conventional pregnancy." Apache studies the image. "What happens now?" "We're running more tests. Blood work shows unusual hormone levels, but otherwise she's healthy despite the dehydration and exhaustion. We've contacted specialists." She pauses. "The FBI has been notified. Why?" Apache's question comes sharper than intended. "Standard protocol for unidentified persons who may be victims of trafficking or abduction. Plus, this medical anomaly ... "I understand," Apache says, though something inside him doesn't like it. "Can I see her?" Dr. Reyes leads him to a private room. The woman lies still, cleaned of desert dust and 4 in her arm. Her dark hair frames a face both ordinary and striking high cheekbones, full lips, skin the color of burnished copper. Without the grime, Apache guesses her age around 30. Her swollen abdomen rises beneath the hospital gown. "Has she regained consciousness?" he asks, briefly. She seemed terrified of the medical equipment. Doesn't speak, though she appears to understand English. "We've had to sedate her mildly to prevent her from removing the 4. A nurse enters with another scan. Dr. Reyes excuses herself to examine it, leaving Apache alone with the woman. He stands awkwardly at the bedside, unsure why he's here. His duty ended with her rescue, yet something about her pulls at him, perhaps the echo of his loss, or simply the mystery she presents. Her eyes open suddenly, dark irises focusing immediately on his face. Recognition again, unmistakable. "You're safe," Apache says, repeating his words from the bridge. "You're in a hospital." She doesn't speak, but reaches tentatively toward him. Apache hesitates, then takes her hand. Her grip tightens with surprising strength. Dr. Reyes returns, eyebrows rising at the scene. "She's responsive to you." "Seems that way." Apache tries to withdraw his hand, but the woman holds firm. "Interesting. Mr. Navarro, could I speak with you outside?" In the hallway, Dr. Reyes's expression has grown more serious. "The new scans confirm our initial findings. This isn't a conventional pregnancy. We need to notify disease control, possibly military medical research." Apache frowns. She's a person, not a research subject. "Of course, but this could be a new pathogen, or—" She doesn't finish the thought. "There's also the matter of her care until we identify her. She'll need observation, possibly psychiatric evaluation." "What's the alternative?" Apache asks. "Normally, social services would place her in temporary care, but given these unusual circumstances..." She studies Apache. "You seem to have established a connection. Would you be willing to serve as a temporary guardian?" "Just until we identify her or family comes forward." The question catches Apache off guard. He's lived alone for 15 years. By choice. The thought of responsibility for another person, this unknown woman with her mysterious condition, should terrify him. "I have medical training from my military service," he hears himself saying. "My cabin is isolated, which might be better for her, less overwhelming." Dr. Reyes considers this. "It's highly irregular, but she does respond to you. I could arrange home medical visits, provided you bring her for scheduled scans." Apache nods, decision made before he fully understands why. She needs a name for the paperwork. Dr. Reyes glances through the doorway at the woman. Jane Doe is standard. "No," Apache says quietly. "Mara? Mara?" Dr. Reyes questions. "Desert Amaranth." tough plant that survives when nothing else will. It was also his grandmother's name, but Apache keeps this to himself. Later, as he completes temporary guardianship forms, Apache notices a doctor he doesn't recognize speaking urgently with Dr. Reyes. The man glances repeatedly at Mara's room, his expression calculating rather than concerned. He shows Dr. Reyes something on his phone that makes her frown. When the man walks away, Apache approaches Dr. Reyes. Problem? She hesitates. Just a colleague with questions about the case. But Apache doesn't miss how she glances toward the hospital's administrative offices, or how she lowers her voice when she adds, "Get her discharge papers completed quickly. I'll expedite the process." Apache's cabin feels different with another person in it. The silence he cultivated for 15 years now has texture and weight, filled with the presence of another breathing soul. Mara sits at his kitchen table, watching as he arranges the spare room. Her hospital-issued clothes hang loose except around her swollen middle. Her eyes follow his movements with unwavering attention. "You'll sleep here," Apache explains, laying out sheets on the narrow bed. "Bathrooms down the hall. Door doesn't. Lock never needed it to." She doesn't respond verbally, but rises from the chair and explores the room with careful steps. Her fingers trace the pine dresser, the woven blanket, the small window overlooking cactus and stone. "Tomorrow we'll get you proper clothes," Apache continues, uncomfortable with her silence, yet compelled to fill it. Dr. Reyes arranged for a nurse to visit in 3 days. When he turns to leave, Mara makes a small sound of distress. Her first vocalization since they left the hospital. "I'll be right outside," he assures her. "You're safe here." The repetition of those words feels significant somehow. Apache watches as Mara settles cautiously on the bed's edge, her hands resting protectively over her rounded abdomen. "Can you write?" he asks suddenly, retrieving a notepad and pencil from the kitchen. He demonstrates, printing his name, then offering the pad to her. Mara studies it, and takes the pencil with surprising dexterity. Her hand moves across the page in fluid strokes. But instead of words, she draws a perfect spiral identical to one of the petroglyphs beneath the bridge. "Do you remember anything?" Apache asks. "Your name? Where you're from?" Mara shakes her head slowly and returns to drawing more symbols. Apache recognizes several from the bridge carvings. Night falls quickly in the desert. Apache prepares a simple meal of beans and cornbread, setting a plate before Mara. She examines each item carefully before eating with deliberate motions. As if relearning the process after dinner, Apache shows her how to operate the solar-powered shower, the propane stove, the emergency satellite phone. She absorbs everything with quiet intensity, but still doesn't speak as Apache prepares for his own night routine. Mara retreats to her room. Through the partially open door, he sees her remove something from her hospital-issued bag, a small object that catches the lamplight. Curious, he approaches. "What's that?" Mara looks up, momentarily startled. In her palm lies a necklace, a pendant of unusual metallic composition hanging from a leather cord. The pendant bears markings similar to the bridge petroglyphs, intricate spirals, and angular symbols. "Where did you get that?" Apache asks. Mara touches her tattered clothes folded on the dresser, indicating the necklace was hidden within them. Apache extends his hand, and after a moment's hesitation, Mara places the pendant in his palm. The metal feels oddly warm, its weight disproportionate to its size. The craftsmanship is unlike anything Apache has seen, neither modern nor ancient, but somehow both. "May I photograph this?" he asks, retrieving his digital camera. "It matches carvings at the bridge where I found you." Mara nods, watching intently as he documents the pendant from multiple angles. Later, after Mara has fallen asleep, Apache sits at his kitchen table, reviewing the images. The pendant symbols undeniably match specific petroglyphs from the bridge. He places the photos alongside earlier images of the bridge carvings, confirming his suspicion that the stone markings had indeed changed position between his visits. Sleep comes uneasily that night. The dream returns with new intensity twin. Sun setting over the desert, but now a figure stands silhouetted against their light. A woman, her belly swollen with mystery. Apache wakes before dawn, disoriented. Outside his window, the desert night is alive with unusual activity. A family of coyotes sits in perfect stillness at the edge of his property. An owl perches on his porch railing. Further out, the shadows of larger animals, deer, and possibly a mountain lion stand in unlikely proximity without. Predatory tension. All seem to be watching the cabin. Apache dresses quickly and steps outside. The animals don't flee at his appearance, merely observe with unnerving focus. When he moves toward them, they finally retreat into the darkness, unhurried. Returning inside, Apache finds Mara standing in the hallway. She points toward the window, then to herself, a question in her eyes. Yes, Apache confirms. They came because of you, didn't they? For the first time, Mara speaks, her voice rough from disuse, but clear. They're listening, she says. Always listening. Before Apache can ask what she means, the satellite phone rings, a rare occurrence that makes both of them start. Dr. Reyes's voice comes through, tense and hushed. Mr. Navarro, I'm moving up our appointment. I'll come to you tomorrow. Don't. Bring Mara to the hospital. What's happened? Apache asks. People asking questions. Government people with unusual authority. They're very interested in her scans. A pause. I don't think it's just medical curiosity. After hanging up, Apache finds Mara watching him, her dark eyes knowing. They're looking for you, he says. It's not a question. Mara nods, one hand protectively covering her belly, the other clutching the strange pendant at her throat. 1 month passes since Apache found Mara beneath the bridge. The spare room has become undeniably hers, walls adorned with drawings of star patterns, symbols matching her pendant, and landscapes Apache doesn't recognize. Her communication remains limited but evolving. She writes single words in a notebook Apache provided, practices speaking in halting sentences during their quiet evenings. Dr. Reyes visits weekly, bringing portable equipment to monitor Mara's condition. The mysterious mass inside her remains, unchanged, neither growing nor shrinking, defying medical explanation. Physically, she's healthy, Dr. Reyes reports during her latest visit. Blood work normal except for those unusual hormone levels, but that mass. She shakes her head. I've consulted colleagues discreetly. None have seen anything like it. After the doctor leaves, Apache finds Mara at the kitchen table, drawing familiar spiral patterns. We need answers, he tells her. I'm going to see someone tomorrow. Mara looks up, questioning. My grandfather's brother, an elder on the reservation. He knows the old stories, the old ways. Apache rarely speaks of his heritage, but the petroglyphs and Mara's symbols have awakened something dormant in his memory. You'll be safe here while I'm gone. The reservation lies 2 hours north. Apache hasn't visited in years, his connections there weighted with memories of his wife. The tribal offices have been renovated, but the scent of sage and pingan remains unchanged. Elder Gabriel Bege sits outside his modest home, carving a piece of cottonwood. At 78, his hands remain steady, his eyes sharp beneath silver. Hair. He doesn't rise when Apache approaches, merely nods as if expecting him. The wandering sun returns, Gabriel says, continuing his carving. Sit, you've brought questions. Apache sits on the weathered bench. I need your knowledge of the old stories. Which ones? We have many. Apache removed photographs from his pocket, the bridge petroglyphs, Mara's pendant, her drawings. Gabriel examines them carefully, his expression unchanging yet attentive. "Where did you find these?" "The carvings are from the old bridge in my sector. The pendant belongs to a woman I found." Gabriel's knife pauses. "Found?" Apache explains Mara's discovery, her condition, the unexplainable medical scans. He omits her presence in his home, describing her as being in medical care. The elder sets his carving aside. "There are stories, very old, about visitors who came from the sky, who took the form of stars." "Star people," Apache says, the term surfacing from childhood memories. "Yes, they came to share knowledge, to learn from us, sometimes to walk among." US. Gabriel points to one of the spiral symbols. "This speaks of cycles, of returning." This one, he indicates an angular mark, represents a vessel, what our ancestors called a sky womb. A what? A container for special children, born of stars and earth together. Gabriel studies Apache closely. These visitors would choose humans with particular bloodlines. The children would appear to be human, but carry something more. Apache shifts uncomfortably. These are just stories. All stories begin somewhere. Gabriel rises with the deliberate movements of age. He enters his home and returns with a walking stick, its surface carved with symbols matching those in the photographs. "My grandfather made this." His grandfather. Before him, the symbols record encounters. Gabriel offers the stick to Apache. "Take it. It belongs with the one who found her." "I didn't say." "You didn't need to." Gabriel's eyes hold ancient wisdom. "The desert speaks to me still. It tells of a woman with a star womb, and a man who guards her." Apache accepts the walking stick, its wood smooth from generations of handling. "Be careful," Gabriel warns. "Others will seek what she carries." The government has long known of the star people, has hunted them and those they choose. The sun sets as Apache drives back to his cabin, the walking stick beside him, mind troubled by Gabriel's words. Rational thought rejects tales of star people and sky wombs. Yet the evidence of Mara's condition defies conventional explanation. He finds her in the yard behind the cabin, surrounded by desert creatures, rabbits, lizards, birds perched unusually. Close, they scatter as Apache approaches, but without fear, merely giving space. "They listen," Mara says, her voice stronger than before. "They bring messages." Apache shows her the walking stick. She traces the carvings with recognition, then points to the evening sky where the first stars have appeared. "Home," she whispers Dot inside. Apache spreads his photographs on the table. "I need to understand. The bridge, your pendant, these symbols, they're connected." Mara takes a pencil, writing in her improving script, "Bridge is doorway." "Doorway to where?" Apache asks. Instead of answering, Mara places her hands on her abdomen. For the first time, she guides Apache's hand to rest against the firm roundness. Beneath his palm, something shifts, not the movement of a conventional child, but a rhythmic pulsing, like a heartbeat, but more complex. "What is it?" he asks. "Future," Mara says simply. That night, Apache's dream changes. The twin suns remain, but now Mara stands clearly in their light, her belly transparent, revealing not a child, but twin stars pulsing in perfect harmony. He wakes to find Mara standing in his doorway, her expression urgent. "They're coming," she says Dot before Apache can question her. His satellite phone rings. Dr. Reyes's voice comes through, tense and hurried. "They know she's with you. Government agents questioned me for hours. I told them nothing, but they'll figure it out. You need to disappear. Now." 3 months after finding Mara, Apache's life has transformed completely. His solitary existence now revolves around protecting her and understanding the mystery she carries. They've established a new routine in the isolated cabin. Apache officially took extended leave from the Park Service, citing personal reasons. Director Simmons didn't press for details. though his expression suggested concern for the formerly reliable ranger. The morning finds them at the handmade table on the porch, Apache carving a wooden board while Mara watches intently. On to its surface, he transfers the symbols from her drawings, spirals, angular marks, celestial patterns. Communication board, he explains, finishing the last symbol. Point to what you want to say. Mara studies the completed board, then smiles. Rare expression that transforms her solemn face. She immediately begins pointing to symbols in sequence, creating sentences Apache gradually interprets. You're getting better at speaking, he says. Why use this instead? She touches her throat, then points to symbols meaning some thoughts. And no words. Apache understands. Some concepts exceed her growing English vocabulary. Their days settle into pattern. Mornings spent maintaining the cabin's systems, checking solar panels, tending the small garden it now flourishes under. Mara's attention. Afternoons dedicated to language practice, both English and the symbol system they're developing together. Evenings watching the desert sunset, often with wildlife gathering at respectful distance. Mara's physical condition puzzles them both. Her apparent pregnancy neither progresses nor recedes. The rounded belly remains unchanged, the mysterious mass inside continuing its strange pulsations. Yet her overall health improves daily, her skin gaining color, her movements becoming more fluid, her eyes brighter. Dr. Reyes visits clandestinely once a month, arriving via unmarked dirt roads, parking her vehicle in a concealed arroyo. Your vitals are perfect, she tells Mara during the latest checkup, the portable equipment showing normal readings. But this, she gestures to the belly, defies medical explanation. The mass appears stable, neither growing nor shrinking. After her examination, Dr. Reyes shares concerning news with Apache outside. Someone accessed my medical files. Official. Government credentials. But when I called to verify, no record of the authorization existed. What did they see? Apache asks. Nothing useful. I've kept most of my notes on paper, locked in my home safe. She hesitates. Apache, I'm risking my license helping you. I need to understand why. He considers how much to share. There are legends in my tribe about visitors from the stars, about special children they helped create. Rather than dismissing him, Dr. Reyes nods thoughtfully. In medical school, I had a professor who specialized in anomalous pregnancies. He once mentioned classified cases involving unexplainable gestations. Most doctors thought he was eccentric. Now I wonder. That night, after Dr. Reyes departs, Apache finds Mara on the porch, communication board in her lap. You have questions, she says, her spoken English improving weekly. Many, Apache admits, settling beside her. What's inside you? Not a normal child. Mara points to symbols on the board. Future, and change, and gift. That's not an answer. Apache says gently. Mara looks frustrated, then points to her eyes, then to his, then to her belly. You want me to see? He asks. She nods, then leads him inside. On the table, she arranges items in specific pattern, her pendant at center, surrounded by small stones and plant materials in a spiral. She gestures for Apache to sit opposite her, then takes his hands in hers, placing them on her abdomen, that the pulsing beneath her skin intensifies at his touch. Mara closes her eyes, concentrating. Apache feels warmth spreading through his palms, up his arms. The sensation reaches his head, and suddenly his vision shifts. The cabin walls seem to dissolve, replaced by a vast field of stars. Two particular stars pulse in rhythm with the movement beneath his hands, growing brighter until they dominate his perception. The vision ends abruptly when a sound outside breaks. Their connection metal on gravel, a vehicle approaching. Apache moves quickly to the window. An unmarked black SUV has stopped at the main road, a mile from their hidden access trail. Government, he says grimly, Recognizing the vehicle type from his military days, Mara's eyes widen with fear. She points to her pendant, then to the back. Dardot Apache understands. Pack essentials only. 5 minutes. While Mara gathers her few belongings, Apache retrieves emergency supplies: water, food, first aid kit, satellite phone. He adds his service weapon, something he'd hoped never to need. Through night vision binoculars, he observes 2 men in dark clothing examining the main road with flashlights. They haven't found the hidden turnoff yet, but it's only a matter of time. We'll take the eastern trail, he tells Mara when she returns, communication board tucked into her bag. It connects to the old mining roads. We can reach the secondary cabin by morning. As they slip out the back door into desert darkness, Apache notices something unsettling. The wildlife has vanished. The usual night sounds of coyotes and owls have gone silent. Even the insects have ceased their chirping. The desert itself seems to be holding its breath. Waiting 4 months since finding Mara beneath the bridge, Apache's former life seems distant memory. The secondary cabin, little more than a hunter's shelter he maintained for emergencies, has become their temporary refuge. Nestled in a box canyon accessible only by a narrow trail, it offers security through isolation. Dawn breaks as Mara practices English, forming complete sentences with growing confidence. They search still? She asks, her accent peculiar, but words clear. Yes, Apache confirms, returning from his perimeter check. Spotted a drone yesterday. Government issue. High-altitude surveillance. He doesn't mention the camera he discovered and disabled near their water source 3 days ago. No need to increase her worry. We need supplies soon, he adds, checking their dwindling stores. Mara nods, then says something unexpected. I remember ... fragments. Before bridge. Apache sets down his coffee mug. This is the first mention of her past. Tell me. Lights, she begins, brow furrowed with concentration. Bright, people in white clothes. Tests. Her hand moves protectively to her abdomen. They put something inside. Not baby. Something else. Who were they? Where was this place? Mara shakes her head. No faces. Underground, maybe? Cold. She takes the communication board, pointing to symbols for stars and knowledge and experiment. Apache considers this new information. You were part of some research project? Government experimentation? Maybe. Or, she hesitates, then uses the board to indicate beyond and visitors. The implications disturb Apache. Human experimentation, or something even stranger, neither option offers comfort. We need to know more, he decides. I'll risk a supply run. To town. There's an internet cafe where I can research securely. The small town of Coyote Wells, 50 miles north, offers anonymity through indifference. Apache parks behind the general store, hat pulled low. First, supplies, non-perishable food, medical basics, ammunition. The storekeeper barely glances up from her magazine. At Desert Connect Internet Cafe. Apache takes the corner terminal with back-to-wall, sight lines to all entrances. Old military habits resurface easily. He begins searching for government research projects involving experimental pregnancies. Most results are conspiracy theories, easily dismissed. But one archived news article catches his attention. A small town. Paper reporting mysterious disappearances of hikers in national parks, followed by their return months later with no memory of the missing time. The pattern spans decades. Apache prints the article, then searches for non-terrestrial gestation research. This yields nothing until he modifies to include classified projects. A single result appears: a heavily redacted document from a Freedom of Information request. The visible text mentions Project Starseed and gestational anomalies in subjects exposed to unidentified material of non-terrestrial origin. The document disappears from the screen before Apache can print it, replaced by a content unavailable message. When he attempts to return to the search results, all links lead to error pages. Someone is monitoring these searches in real time. Apache logs off immediately, collects his supplies, and heads for the truck. As he loads the bags, he notices a partially burned document near the dumpster, unusual in this tidy town. Retrieving it reveals official letterhead with government seals. Fragments of text visible. ... Subjects, showing anomalous gestation patterns after exposure to artifact NTE-7. ... Non-terrestrial embryonic development continues to defy conventional. Double quotes ... Term sky womb, appearing in multiple indigenous accounts of ... The coincidence is too great. Someone discarded this recently, perhaps when Apache was discovered. Searching related topics. Returning to the canyon as sunset approaches, Apache finds Mara outside the cabin, eyes closed in apparent communion with a golden eagle perched, improbably close on a juniper branch. The bird departs as Apache approaches. They bring warnings, Mara says. Someone follows you. Apache shares his discoveries. The news article, the disappearing document, the burned paper. Mara examines the fragments, recognition flickering in. Her eyes. I was hiker, she says suddenly. Mountains. New Mexico. Bright light then. Nothing until bridge. When? Apache asks. Last spring. April. Hiking alone. She touches the pendant at her neck. This was gift, before light. From whom? Old woman. On trail. Said I would need protection. Mara's eyes grow distant. Sighed. I was chosen. That night, Apache teaches Mara to handle his backup firearm, a compact 9mm from his military days. I hope you never need this, he says, guiding her hands through proper grip and stance that Mara learns quickly, her body remembering. Skills her mind cannot fully recall. Another mystery, her familiarity with weapons despite her gentle nature. After practice, they sit by small fire outside the cabin. Apache notices Mara watching him with unusual intensity. What? He asks, why you help me? She questions. Risk everything. Why? The question catches him off guard. He's avoided examining his motivations too closely. Duty at first, he answers honestly. Then ... He struggles for words. Connection, Mara supplies, placing her hand over his. I feel. 2. The moment stretches between them, fragile and significant. Apache hasn't allowed himself to care for anyone since losing his wife and unborn child. The wall he built around his heart developed cracks the moment he found Mara beneath the bridge. Their hands remain joined as night deepens around them, the stars emerging in familiar, yet somehow different patterns than Apache remembers from his. Decades in this desert, one particular star pulses brighter than the others, directly above their canyon. 6 months since the bridge. Apache and Mara have settled into uneasy routine at the secondary cabin, balanced between vigilance and a semblance of normalcy. Their supplies, carefully rationed, will last another month. Before necessitating another risky trip to town, Apache's satellite phone rings. Rarely only Dr. Reyes and Director Simmons have the number. Today it's Simmons, his voice carrying across miles of desert. Navarro, it's been months. Your leave expires next week. I need more time, Apache replies, watching Mara through the window as she tends the small garden that has flourished under her care. The department has questions. Like you, going off-grid. Personal reasons, Jim. Apache rarely uses the director's first name. I'll explain when I can. A heavy sigh comes through the connection. 1 more month. Then I need you back or your resignation. After ending the call, Apache joins Mara outside. Desert marigolds and sage bloom in profusion around her. Plants that struggled previously now thriving in the arid soil. Her connection to growing things strengthens daily. We need to consider long-term plans, Apache tells her. We can't hide forever. Mara's English has improved remarkably, her sentences. Now fluid, though, still accented with something untraceable. I need to understand what happened at the bridge, she says. It calls to me in dreams. Apache has avoided returning to the bridge, fearing surveillance. But Mara's dreams mirror his own twin suns, setting behind the ancient structure, symbols. Glowing with internal light. It's dangerous, he warns. Necessary, she counters, touching her unchanged abdomen. Answers are there. They prepare carefully, departing at dusk when thermal imaging is less effective. Apache's truck remains hidden. They travel by foot across familiar terrain. 6 miles of desert hiking brings them within sight of the bridge as full darkness descends. Apache scans the area through night vision binoculars. No obvious surveillance. Approach from the eastern wash. They descend carefully into the dry stream that passes beneath the bridge. Apache checks for footprints or signs of recent activity. Finding none, they advance to the structure's underside where he first discovered Mara. The petroglyphs look different again, symbols rearranged in patterns matching Mara's recent drawings. She approaches the wall, fingers tracing the carvings. With reverent familiarity, I've been here before, she whispers. Before you found me. That's impossible, Apache says. I patrol this area regularly. Not this time. Another ... She struggles for the word. Another when. While Mara communes with the carvings, Apache notices something partially buried in the sand nearby. Digging carefully reveals a flat stone. Tablet, its surface covered with astronomical markings, star patterns, orbital lines, and the now familiar spiral symbol prominent at its center. Mara, he calls softly, holding up his discovery. She examines the tablet, recognition dawning in her eyes. Star map. Shows alignment. Her finger traces a particular configuration. Coming soon. What alignment? What's coming? Instead of answering, Mara places the tablet on the ground, then positions her pendant directly above a specific point on the carved map. Moonlight catches the metal, casting pinpoint reflections onto the bridge wall reflections that align perfectly with certain petroglyphs, illuminating them. Bridge between worlds, she says. Opens when stars align. She points to a specific pattern on the tablet. Here. Soon. Apache checks his compass against the astronomical markings. If he's interpreting correctly, the alignment Mara indicates will occur in approximately 6 more months. What happens during alignment? He asks. Mara touches her belly. Birth. As they prepare to leave, Apache notices fresh excavation marks nearby. Someone else has been digging recently. They retreat, cautiously, taking the tablet with them. The return journey passes in tense silence until they're halfway to the cabin. Mara suddenly stops, gripping Apache's arm. Listen, she whispers. Apache hears nothing and realizes that's the problem. The desert has gone completely silent. No insects, no night birds, no distant coyotes. A faint hum grows from the direction of the bridge, vibrating through the ground beneath their feet. Above, the stars seem to shimmer, their light distorting briefly. What's happening? Apache asks. Echo, Mara says. Remembering. The sensation passes as quickly as it began. Desert. Sounds gradually returning. They hurry back to the safety of the canyon at the cabin. Apache spreads maps across the table, calculating the celestial alignment Mara indicated. According to his amateur astronomy knowledge, a rare planetary conjunction will occur almost exactly 1 year from the date he found Mara. She watches him work, her hand absently tracing patterns on her rounded belly. The mass inside her hasn't changed in size, but the pulsations have developed a more complex rhythm over the months. 1 year, Apache says finally. Whatever's happening, it centers on that date. Yes, Mara confirms. Full cycle. That night. Their relationship crosses a threshold, not through words or physical intimacy, but through shared purpose. As they sit before the small fire outside the cabin, Mara places her communication board between them, pointing to symbols that form a question. If dangerous, why stay? Apache considers the many answers: duty, curiosity, compassion, all true yet incomplete. Because you matter to me, he says simply. I won't abandon you. Mara's eyes reflect firelight and something deeper. I was sent to find you, she says. Not accident. Bridge led me to you. Why me? She takes his hand, placing it on her belly, with a strange pulsing seems to intensify at his touch. Some questions have no words for answers, she says. In the morning, they discover fresh footprints circling the cabin. Someone observed them during the night. Apache finds a cigarette, but not his own, near the perimeter. Their sanctuary has been compromised. 8 months after finding Mara, Apache makes a decision they can no longer avoid. The discovery of surveillance at this secondary cabin forced another relocation, this time back to his primary residence. The risk of being found exists regardless of where they hide, and his original cabin offers better defensibility and resources. Hiding isn't working, Apache tells Mara as they settle back into the familiar space. Time to seek answers instead. He retrieves a metal box from beneath the floorboards, untouched for 15 years. Inside rest his military dog tags, a satellite phone different from his Ranger-issued one, and a worn address book. Mara watches as he fingers the tags, memories etching lines around his eyes. Special Forces, he explains. Before Park Service. Some contacts might still be active. Apache powers on the old phone, surprised to find it still functional. He dials a number memorized long ago, uncertain if it remains valid. A guarded voice answers on the third ring. Southeast Import-Export? Apache provides a recognition code that feels foreign on his tongue after so many years. The line goes silent. Then, Apache? Jesus, man. Thought you are dead. Not yet, Marcus. Apache hasn't spoken to his former squad mate since leaving the service. Need information. Off the record. Must be serious if you're activating this line. What's the situation? Apache chooses his words carefully. Government research project. Classified. Involves non-conventional pregnancies, possibly non-terrestrial elements. Codename might be Starseed. The silence stretches so long Apache thinks they've been disconnected. Finally, Marcus responds. Voice lowered. You're into something heavy, brother. That project's black budget, beyond classified. Started in the 80s after recovered materials from an unacknowledged crash site. How are you connected? Found someone they're hunting. Someone ... affected ... double quotes. Another long pause. They're tracking this call. Guaranteed. I'll contact you. Not the other way around. Different method. Stay alert. The line goes dead. Apache returns the phone to its hiding place, troubled by the confirmation that Starseed exists. Mara, who has been listening, places her hand on his shoulder. Your friend will help? Maybe, if they haven't compromised him already. That afternoon, Apache teaches Mara more survival techniques, how to move silently through brush, identify edible plants, read weather patterns. Her learning speed continues to astonish him. Skills that took him years to master, she absorbs in hours. You've done this before, he observes, as she demonstrates perfect form with his hunting knife. Mara looks puzzled. No memories of training, but body remembers. As sunset approaches, Apache senses a subtle change in Mara. Her movements become more fluid, her attention focused on the eastern sky where the first stars appear. They're speaking tonight, she says, sitting cross-legged in the yard. Who is? The guides. She points to particular stars that seem to pulse slightly brighter than those surrounding them. Apache sits beside her, following her gaze. The night sky has always been spectacular in the desert. But lately he's noticed subtle differences, certain stars appearing more prominent, constellations slightly shifted from their remembered positions. What are they saying? He asks, humoring. What could be delusion or genuine perception? Preparing. Mara closes her eyes. Others have come before. Others will follow. Cycle continues. Her body tenses suddenly, hands moving to her abdomen where the mysterious mass pulses visibly beneath. Her shirt. For the first time in 8 months, Apache observes a change not in size, but in energy. The skin above the mass glows faintly in the gathering darkness, a subtle bluish illumination from within. Mara? Alarm edges his voice. Her eyes open, irises reflecting starlight with unusual intensity, growing stronger, responding to approaching alignment. The glow subsides gradually, but the experience leaves Apache deeply unsettled. Whatever gestates within Mara defies natural explanation. The next morning brings Dr. Reyes for her monthly visit, this time with portable ultrasound equipment, more advanced than her previous devices. New technology, she explains, setting up the system, borrowed from a research colleague. It might show details conventional imaging misses. As the scanner passes over Mara's abdomen, the screen displays not the amorphous shadow of previous examinations, but a more defined structure still, not a conventional fetus, but a complex energy pattern with symmetrical elements reminiscent of binary stars. Remarkable, Dr. Reyes whispers. It's emitting measurable energy, like nothing I've ever seen. She captures readings, her scientific curiosity overriding potential fear of the unknown. The pattern has doubled in complexity since my first scans, though the physical mass remains stable. After the examination, Dr. Reyes shares concerning news. I was followed to my last meeting with a colleague. Had to take extensive countermeasures to reach you safely today. Government agents? Apache asks. I believe so. Very professional, nearly invisible. I only noticed because a patient warned me, former intelligence officer, who recognized the signs. She hesitates. There's something else. My hospital access has been revoked. Official reasons cited as security review, but the timing is suspicious. As Dr. Reyes prepares to leave, she notices the star map tablet they recovered from. The bridge. May I? She asks, examining the astronomical markings. Her background includes astrophysics alongside medicine. These calculations are incredibly precise, she notes. They predict a specific celestial alignment 4 months from now. She points to the central spiral. This appears to be a temporal marker, a countdown of sorts. After she departs, Apache reinforces the cabin security, measures motion sensors at property boundaries, warning systems along approach routes, escape preparations if they are discovered. That night, the satellite phone from the metal box vibrates a text message from Marcus. Eyes everywhere. Project Starseed monitors all communications about non-terrestrial contact. Principals include Colonel James Ward, Director. Extremely dangerous. He destroys what he can't control. Stay dark. Apache shows Mara a message. She reads it, then says simply, Ward, I remember that name. He was there, in the White Room. 9 months since Apache found Mara beneath the bridge. The desert summer has given way to autumn, bringing cooler temperatures and subtle changes to the landscape. Inside Mara, the mysterious entity remains constant in size, but increases in complexity and energy. Mara sits at the kitchen table. Arranged before her a collection of objects she's gathered over the past months, stones with unusual markings, feathers left by visiting birds, dried plants with spiral growth patterns, and at the center, her pendant. She calls this her memory box, touching each item methodically, as if extracting information through contact. I remember more, she tells Apache as he watches her ritual. Fragments returning. Tell me, he encouraged, having learned that her memories surface unpredictably, requiring patience. I was Jennifer Reyes, she says, the name sounding foreign on her tongue. Geology researcher. Hiking in Gila Wilderness, April 12th. Apache. Notes the details. Last year? Yes. Her fingers trace the pendant. Old woman on trail gave me this. Said it belonged to me. Before and again. Made no sense then. And now? Still puzzling. Mara or Jennifer continues sorting through her. Memory objects. Remember bright light that night. Feeling of ... rising. Then white room. Tests. Voices discussing compatibility and vessel. Apache has been researching missing persons reports, using secure internet connections at libraries in different towns to avoid pattern tracking. Jennifer. Reyes disappeared April 13th last year. Search parties found nothing. Case remains open. They took me, Mara says simply. Project Starseed. Why? What made you special? Bloodline, she replies, touching the pendant again. Like yours. This connection to his own heritage unsettles Apache. What do you mean? Some humans carry ancient markers. Genetic memory of previous contact. She struggles to explain concepts beyond her recovering vocabulary. Bridge recognizes. These markers. Calls to us. Apache considers this alongside tribal stories of star people choosing specific bloodlines. His grandfather had spoken of their family's connection to the sky visitors. Stories Apache dismissed as mythology until now. A notification from one of his perimeter sensors interrupts their conversation. Apache checks the security tablet. Vehicle approaching on the main road. Not attempting concealment. Through binoculars, he recognizes Dr. Reyes' car. He signals all clear to Mara, who has taken defensive position with the 9mm. Dr. Reyes appears unusually disheveled, her typically immaculate appearance replaced by rumpled clothing and tired eyes. They seized my research, she announces without greeting. Came to my home with a warrant citing national security. Took everything related to Mara's case. How did they connect you to us? Apache asks, checking the road behind her. I don't. No, I've been careful. She runs a hand through her hair. But they knew exactly what they were looking for. My notes, equipment, even personal journals. Did they follow you here? No. I drove to Phoenix, then doubled back through 3 vehicle changes. Old habits from medical school when I volunteered in conflict zones. Inside, Dr. Reyes examines Mara briefly. Physically unchanged, but the energy readings are intensifying. Whatever is happening is accelerating. After the examination, they discuss options. Their circle of safety continues shrinking. I need to disappear for a while, Dr. Reyes says. I have colleagues who can help me go underground until this resolves. What? About the hospital? Apache asks. I've been suspended pending investigation. Accusations of research ethics violations. Bitter amusement colors her voice. Apparently, I've been conducting unauthorized experiments on pregnant women. Before leaving, Dr. Reyes shares a crucial discovery. I searched for Jennifer Reyes's records before my equipment was confiscated. She wasn't the only one who disappeared. 7 other cases in the past decade, all women with similar backgrounds. What backgrounds? Apache asks. All had indigenous ancestry, though most were unaware of it. All disappeared in remote areas. 3 returned with no memories and unusual medical anomalies, then vanished again before studies could be completed. A pattern, Apache notes grimly. More than that, Dr. Reyes adds. All disappearances occurred during specific astronomical alignments. Whatever's happening follows celestial timetables. After she departs, Apache finds Mara outside, communing with a young coyote that sits unnaturally close to her. The animal departs at his approach. They bring messages, Mara explains. More coming to watch. Important time approaching. That evening, Apache decides to confront Park Director Simmons. His extended leave has expired, and the increasing government presence in the area cannot be coincidental. Using a public phone. In town, he arranges a meeting at a remote overlook. Simmons arrives alone as promised, his ranger vehicle dusty from the access road. "You look like hell, Navarro," he observes, concern evident beneath his gruff exterior. "Need information, Jim. Government agents in the area. Black SUVs, surveillance equipment. Not border patrol or standard agencies." Simmons sighs heavily. "Started about 7 months ago. They presented credentials. Department of Defense Research Division. Said they were monitoring environmental radiation anomalies. You believe that? Of course not. They're looking for something. Or someone." Simmons studies Apache carefully. "This about that woman you helped? The one they're asking about?" Apache maintains neutral expression, but Simmons reads his silence correctly. "Thought so. They've been reviewing all our patrol logs, focusing on the old bridge area. Very interested in your movements before you took leave. What have you told them?" "Nothing useful. But Navarro, they have authority beyond anything I've seen. They'll find you eventually." As they part, Simmons offers unexpected advice. "My sister's on the tribal council. She says the elders are talking about star signs and visitors. Says your name came up." He hands Apache a piece of paper. "This location. Traditional tribal land. Outside federal jurisdiction. Might buy you time." Returning to the cabin, Apache finds Mara arranging small stones in spiral pattern identical to the bridge petroglyphs. "They're closing in," he tells her. Mara nods calmly. "Expected. 3 months remain until alignment. They wish to prevent completion." "Completion? Of what?" She places her hand on her belly, the now familiar glow briefly visible through her fingers. "The beginning," she says simply. 10 months have passed since Apache found Mara beneath the bridge. Winter touches the desert with crisp mornings and early sunsets. Their world has contracted to immediate concerns, security, supplies, and the approaching celestial alignment, now just 2 months away. Apache returns from meeting with tribal elder Gabriel, who visited the border of parklands to perform a protection ceremony. The old man provided a medicine bundle leather pouch containing sacred herbs, stones, and symbolic items meant to ward off malevolent forces. "Elder says to place this above the main entrance," Apache explains, hanging the bundle over the doorway. "Traditional protection against those with harmful intent." Mara examines the bundle with appreciation. "I feel its purpose. Similar to objects from my world." This casual reference to my world, distinct from Earth, no longer surprises Apache. As Mara's memories return, so does her awareness of origins beyond conventional understanding. Outside, the desert exhibits increasingly unusual behavior in Mara's presence. Vegetation flourishes despite winter dormancy. Flowers bloom out of season. Cacti produce fruit months early. Animals gather in unprecedented numbers and combinations. Predator and prey coexisting peacefully near the cabin. Apache documents these anomalies, maintaining a research journal similar to his dream records. The evidence of Mara's influence on the natural world grows daily. "The life responds to what's inside you," he observes as they walk the property perimeter, plants visibly stretching toward Mara as she passes. "Recognizing kin," she explains, "all life connected. What I carry strengthens these connections." Their relationship has evolved alongside these changes. Initial wariness gave way to trust and compassion, then something deeper neither has fully named. They move together through daily routines with the synchronicity of long-term partners, anticipating each other's needs, communicating through glances and slight gestures. That evening, as desert temperatures drop sharply, they sit before the fireplace inside the cabin. The intimate setting breaks down final reservations. "I never expected to care for anyone again," Apache admits, watching firelight play across Mara's features. After Maria died with our unborn child, I closed that part of myself. Mara takes his hand, her touch conveying understanding beyond words. Loss shaped you, created space that needed filling. Is that why the bridge led you to me? Because I was empty, not empty, ready. She moves closer. Some connections transcend normal time. We were meant to find each other. Their first kiss feels both inevitable and extraordinary, gentle, yet electric with significance. Apache hesitates, aware of her vulnerable position, her dependence on his protection. Are you certain? He asks. Mara's smile carries wisdom beyond her apparent years. More certain than you. I've waited longer for this moment than you realize. The night transforms their relationship irreversibly. Physical intimacy merges with deeper connection, the mysterious energy within Mara seeming to encompass them both. Apache experiences brief, vivid vision stars, expanding and contracting. Spirals of light, ancient symbols flowing like water. Morning brings unexpected visitor, Apache's former military squad mate Marcus, arriving unannounced on foot through the arroyo behind the property. Apache's perimeter sensors detected his approach, allowing proper defensive positioning before recognition. Had to see for myself, Marcus explains after tense greetings. 15 years have weathered him. Military precision replaced by watchful wariness. Couldn't say everything electronically. Too many ears listening. Inside, Marcus studies Mara with undisguised curiosity. So you're what Project Starseed is hunting. One of many, she corrects. Others came before. Others will follow. Marcus shares critical intelligence gathered through old networks. Colonel Ward has assembled strike team. Elite operators with classified experience. They're staging at Auxiliary. Base 50 miles north. How close are they to finding us? Apache asks. Very. They've narrowed search grid to this region. It's just methodical sweep now. Marcus accepts coffee with grateful nod. Ward believes she carries something that will alter power balance technology or knowledge beyond current understanding. He's partly right, Mara says calmly. What exactly are you carrying? Marcus asks directly. Mara exchanges glance with Apache, silent communication passing between them. Future, she answers simply. Marcus doesn't press further. Instead, he provides tactical assessment of their situation. You have maybe 2 weeks here before they find you. Tribal Land Simmons suggested offers temporary sanctuary federal jurisdiction complications will slow them down. And after that? Apache asks, you need leverage. Something Ward wants badly enough to negotiate rather than simply take. After Marcus departs with promises of continued intelligence, Apache and Mara consider their dwindling options. A celestial alignment approaches inexorably, their security timeline shortening daily. That night, wildlife gathering reaches unprecedented scale. Hundreds of animals surrounding cabin in concentric circles, from small rodents and reptiles, nearest the building to larger predators, maintaining respective distances at the perimeter. Their behavior defies natural explanation, creating protective formation around the property dock as dawn approaches. Apache wakes to find Mara standing outside among the creatures, communing in silence. Morning light reveals her belly finally showing. Change subtle luminescence visible even in daylight, pulsing in complex rhythm. When she returns inside, her expression carries new certainty. Time to return to bridge, she announces. Final preparation begins. It's too dangerous, Apache argues. They're watching that area closely, more dangerous to avoid. She places his hand on her abdomen, where energy patterns shift beneath. His touch, the connection must be completed at origin point. Bridge is catalyst and conduit. Before Apache can respond, perimeter alarm signals approaching vehicle. Through binoculars, he identifies Dr. Rees's colleague's car, driven by unknown man. The visitor stops at main road, examining property through high-powered optics. Government, Apache confirms grimly. Reconnaissance, not strike team. He watches the vehicle eventually depart, knowing their location is now compromised. How soon? Can we reach tribal land? Mara asks. Tomorrow, if we travel light. Apache begins gathering essentials. But first, I need to make this place difficult for them to search. Buy us time. As they prepare evacuation protocols, Mara suddenly freezes, attention focused eastward toward the bridge miles distant. It's awakening, she whispers. Can you feel it? Apache senses nothing at first, then perceives subtle vibration through. Cabin floorboards faint, but unmistakable tremor emanating from direction of bridge. What's happening? He asks. Resonance beginning. Bridge responding to approaching alignment. Mara's expression combines wonder and concern. Earlier than expected, we must hurry. 11 months since finding Mara beneath the bridge. Apache drives. Their remaining functional vehicle, an aging jeep with off-road capabilities along barely visible tribal paths. Beside him, Mara studies the passing landscape with unusual intensity, as if memorizing every formation. They're following, she says suddenly, though Apache has detected no pursuit. How do you know? I feel them. 3 vehicles. Military grade. Coming from north. She points without looking. 12 miles and closing. Apache has learned to trust Mara's perceptions. Her awareness extends beyond normal senses, particularly as the celestial alignment approaches. They reach their destination near sunset, a small stone dwelling built into canyon wall on sovereign tribal land. Elder Gabriel awaits them, seated on a wooden chair outside the structure, as if their arrival time was precisely known. The star carrier returns. Gabriel greets Mara, ignoring conventional pleasantries, and her protector. Inside the dwelling, Apache secures their minimal possessions while Mara and Gabriel converse in hushed tones. When he rejoins them, the elder is examining Mara's pendant with reverent familiarity. Your family has maintained the knowledge, Gabriel says to Apache, though you denied it until now. What knowledge? Apache questions, of your bloodline's connection to the visitors. Gabriel produces ancient scroll from leather case-yellowed animal skin, covered with symbols matching the bridge petroglyphs. These records document previous star women pregnancies. 7 cycles spanning 2,000 years. Apache examines the scroll carefully. The detailed drawings show women with glowing abdomens, spiral symbols, and astronomical alignments. Most disturbing are the depictions of infants with unusual characteristics, eyes reflecting starlight, hands touched with luminescence. The Navarro line appears in 4 cycles, Gabriel continues. Your great-grandfather's grandfather was a child of stars. The blood runs strong in you. That's why the bridge led me to Apache, Mara interjects. Genetic resonance. Compatibility. Compatibility. For what? Apache asks, unsettled by these revelations. Before Gabriel can answer, Mara gasps, clutching her abdomen. The glow beneath her shirt intensifies momentarily, then subsides. They're aware, she whispers. Beginning transition phase. A sound outside interrupts vehicle, approaching rapidly. Apache moves to defensive position, weapon ready, but Gabriel remains calm. Expected visitor, the elder explains as Dr. Reyes peers at the doorway, medical bag in hand. Sorry I'm late, she says, slightly breathless. Had to ensure I wasn't followed. Dr. Reyes carries digital recorder retrieved from her hidden backup storage. I need you both to see this before we proceed further. The device projects images onto stone wall medical data, genetic analyses, and finally, comparison of DNA samples. This is Mara's genetic profile, Dr. Reyes explains, indicating complex display. Portions appear human, but approximately 17%. contains nucleotide sequences unlike anything in scientific records. She advances to next image split screen, comparing two DNA profiles. This is where it gets extraordinary. Left sample is from Mara's blood. Right sample is from the mass inside her. She pauses, allowing them to observe the patterns. The entity she carries contains DNA matching Apaches. A perfect 50% contribution, as would be expected in biological reproduction. Stunned silence follows this revelation. That's impossible, Apache finally responds. We only became intimate recently. The mass has been present since I found her. Precisely why I documented everything, Dr. Reyes continues. The implications violate our understanding of temporal biology. Either the entities somehow acquired your genetic material before your physical relationship, or time functions differently for them, Mara completes, one hand resting on her glowing abdomen. Doctor Reyes nods. The only scientific explanation, however theoretical, involves temporal displacement. The pregnancy exists partially outside our normal time stream. Meaning what, exactly? Apache demands. Meaning, Gabriel interjects, the children were conceived, both before and after your union. They exist across time, not merely within it. Children? Apache questions the plural term. Dr. Reyes adjusts the display, showing clearer imaging of the mass. Recent scans reveal binary structure, twins. Mara stands suddenly, moving to Apache with newfound urgency. There's something I must tell you, something I've remembered. Her expression carries weight of revelation, long withheld. I wasn't randomly chosen, she begins. I was sent, specifically to find you. Sent by whom? By them. She touches her belly. From future time, to ensure their own birth. Apache struggles to comprehend. You're saying the entities inside you sent you back to find me so they could be born? Yes, causal loop. Mara searches for words to explain concepts beyond conventional language. They needed to exist to eventually send me to you, but they needed me to find you so they could exist. Dr. Reyes interjects, scientific mind engaging with the paradox. Theoretical physics allows for such loops. Events causing themselves across nonlinear time. The bridge is key, Mara continues. Portal activated during celestial alignments. I was brought through, memories suppressed for protection, carrying dormant genetic material that activated upon finding you. Apache processes these revelations, connecting fragments that never aligned properly. The pendant, beacon and key, Mara explains, helps navigate temporal pathways, find correct genetic match. Gabriel observes their exchange with knowing expression. Star children have come this way before. They bring knowledge, guidance, help humanity evolve. A distant rumbling interrupts their discussion. Not vehicles, but the earth itself trembling slightly. Even here, miles from the bridge, its awakening resonance reaches them. It's beginning, Mara says, urgency in her voice. Bridge activation accelerating. 1 month until full alignment, but temporal boundaries already thinning. Dr. Reyes checks. Monitoring equipment brought from her vehicle. Energy readings off conventional scales. Whatever's happening is gaining momentum. Outside, Gabriel's tribal guardians report unusual phenomena lights in the sky, wildlife behaving erratically, electronic equipment malfunctioning. Apache pulls Mara aside, needing one question answered clearly. These children, they're truly mine? Not some experiment or alien implantation. Mara takes his hand, placing it where the glow pulses beneath her skin. Feel them, your DNA, your essence. Created through our union past, present, and future intertwined. The connection flows between them images of twin infants with Apaches, eyes in Mara's determined expression, surrounded by stars. Apache sits alone on the canyon rim, watching stars emerge in the deepening twilight. The revelations of the past hours have shaken his understanding of reality. Mara sent from the future, carrying his children conceived across time, his own bloodline connected to ancient star people. Gabriel approaches, carrying an object wrapped in ceremonial cloth. Your thoughts are loud, son of Navarro. Trying to make sense of impossibilities, Apache admits. What seems impossible to one generation becomes ordinary to the next. Gabriel unwraps the bundle, revealing ancient scroll more detailed than the one shown earlier. Your great-grandfather helped record this cycle. He too met a star woman. The scroll's detailed illustrations show familiar petroglyphs, alongside accounts of previous encounters, star women arriving during specific alignments, bearing children with unusual abilities, departing when their purpose was complete. All bloodlines connected to these events share certain markers, Gabriel explains. Your family carries them strongly. The children born of these unions become bridges between worlds. Inside the dwelling, Apache finds Mara in deep conversation with Dr. Reyes. They fall silent at his entrance, exchanging glances that suggest difficult decisions discussed. Tell me everything, Apache requests, his tone leaving no room for partial truths. Mara nods, resolute. The bridge will fully activate in 1 month, exactly 1 year from when you found me. The children must be born at that location during peak alignment. Why there? Why then? The bridge exists at intersection of dimensions. During alignment, barriers thin enough for safe passage. She touches her pendant. They must return with me. The words land like physical blows. Return? You're leaving? My purpose was to bring them into existence, Mara explains gently. Their purpose lies beyond this time. They're needed elsewhere. They're my children, Apache says, protective instinct flaring. Yes, that's why they needed your specific genetic contribution. Your bloodline carries activation codes from previous cycles. Dr. Reyes interjects with scientific perspective. The DNA sequences unique to Mara's biology interact with specific markers in your genetic makeup. The combination creates something ... extraordinary. A commotion outside interrupts their discussion. Marcus has arrived, breathless with urgent news. Ward's team intercepted my communications. They know you're on tribal land. He hands Apache satellite images showing military vehicles at reservation boundary. They're securing permission to enter, claiming national security emergency. How long? Apache asks. Days, maybe hours. Ward has political connections beyond normal channels. As if confirming this timeline, tribal lookouts report approaching helicopters conducting aerial surveillance of the region. We need leverage, Marcus insists. Something to force negotiation rather than confrontation. Dr. Reyes reveals her own discovery. I've been analyzing the energy signatures from Mara's pregnancy. The power generation potential exceeds anything in current scientific understanding. Clean energy that could revolutionize global systems. Ward doesn't want energy, Mara interjects. He wants weapons. The same power that creates can destroy if misused. Apache recognizes the immediate danger. If Ward captures Mara before the alignment ... the children would become government property. Marcus confirms grimly. Experimental subjects. Gabriel summons tribal council members to discuss response to the encroaching threat. After heated debate, they agree to invoke rarely used spiritual protection protocols, ancient rites predating U.S. government that legally complicate federal jurisdiction. As preparations accelerate, Apache finds moment alone with Mara beneath. Star-filled sky. You knew all along you would leave, he says, the realization bringing unexpected pain. Not everything, she admits. My memories were suppressed to protect the timeline. I've been remembering gradually. She takes his hand. What I didn't anticipate was falling in love with you. The confession hangs between them, both beautiful and devastating. The children need both lineages to fulfill their purpose, she continues. Your strength, my connection to what you call stars. And I need what? To simply let you all go? To help complete the cycle, she answers. And perhaps ... She hesitates. Perhaps to make a choice when the time comes. Before Apache can question this cryptic statement, the ground trembles beneath them stronger than previous vibrations. Lasting longer. Mara looks eastward toward the distant bridge. The resonance grows, time barriers thinning faster than expected. Apache follows her gaze to the horizon where a faint glow has appeared, unnatural light pulsing in rhythm with the energy inside Mara. The bridge is calling us home, she whispers. 12 months exactly since Apache found Mara beneath the bridge. The celestial alignment approaches, just days away, according to Gabriel's ancient stone calendar that tracks star positions with remarkable precision. The ancients understood cosmic cycles, Gabriel explains, demonstrating how notches in the stone device align with current stellar positions. When these three markers converge, the bridge fully activates. Apache studies the calendar, recognizing astronomical patterns matching Mara's drawings. How did they know? How did they build this? Previous visitors shared knowledge. Each cycle brings advancement. Gabriel points to historical carvings surrounding the calendar. Your ancestors recorded these events. The knowledge was preserved for this moment. Their sanctuary on tribal land has transformed into command center. Marcus coordinates security with tribal guardians. Dr. Reyes monitors Mara's increasingly active pregnancy with portable equipment. Apache manages logistics for their imminent return to the bridge. Government pressure intensifies daily. Helicopters regularly patrol reservation boundaries. Official requests for entry have escalated to thinly veiled threats about suspected domestic terrorism activities. Ward's getting desperate, Marcus reports after intercepting military communications. He's requested special operations team, something called Starseed Extraction Unit. They've done this before, Mara confirms, memories continuing to surface. Captured others like me, previous cycles. The Tribal Council convenes emergency session, divided between maintaining sovereignty and avoiding federal conflict. Elder Gabriel's influence ultimately prevails. The tribe will honor ancient obligations to protect star visitors, regardless of consequences. That evening, Dr. Reyes shares concerning readings from her equipment. The energy signatures are amplifying exponentially. If this continues ... She hesitates. The power could be visible from space. It already is, Mara says quietly. They're watching, waiting for opening. They? Who exactly are they? Apache demands, patience wearing thin with partial explanations. Mara places both hands on her. Luminous abdomen, now constantly glowing beneath her clothing. My people, observers, guardians of cycles, and our children? What role do they play in this? Bridge makers, born of both worlds, they can move between dimensions, create pathways others can follow. Her expression softens. They're not the first, but they're among the most important. Their specific genetic combination holds key to sustainable connection. Apache absorbs this, understanding finally crystallizing. That's why Ward wants them. Control the bridges. Control what comes through. Yes, previous attempts to militarize contact have failed. Ward believes these children offer different possibility weapons, beyond current understanding. Marcus interrupts with urgent update. Government forces have obtained emergency authorization to enter tribal land, citing imminent public safety threat. Estimated arrival, 24 hours. We need to move tonight, he advises. Reach the bridge before they can intercept. Preparations accelerate. Tribal guardians will create diversionary activities to confuse surveillance. Marcus has secured electromagnetic countermeasures to disrupt tracking technology. Dr. Reyes prepares medical supplies for potential birth at the bridge site. As twilight approaches, Apache finds moment alone with Mara at canyon's edge. The horizon glows with unusual aurora-like light emanating from the bridge's direction, visible despite daylight. "Are you afraid?" he asks. "Not of birth," she answers. "Only of interference. The alignment window is narrow. If Ward prevents completion—" "He won't," Apache promises, the familiar weight of his father's rifle across his back offering strange comfort. The weapon, passed through generations of his family, feels appropriate for this culmination of ancestral purpose. Gabriel approaches with final, blessing ceremonial mixture of sacred herbs brushed across their foreheads. "The ancestors walk with you," he intones. All cycles lead to this moment. As darkness falls, they prepare to depart. Apache secures the vehicles while Marcus confirms routes. Dr. Reyes administers final check of Mara's condition. "The mass is changing," she reports with scientific wonder, dividing more distinctly into two entities. Readings suggest accelerated development, as if they're preparing for emergence. Mara nods knowingly. Final transformation begins. They sense the alignment approaching. Apache looks eastward, where the bridge's glow now pulses visibly against night sky. Strange weather patterns have developed, localized clouds swirling above the structure, lightning without thunder, winds moving in circular patterns. Nature itself seems to recognize the impending convergence. "It's time," Mara says simply. Their small convoy departs tribal land under cover of darkness, moving toward phenomenon growing more extraordinary with each passing hour. In the lead vehicle, Apache drives while Mara navigates, her internal connection to the bridge providing guidance more accurate than any map. Behind them, tribal ceremonies commence, ancient songs and dances performed to strengthen spiritual boundaries and confuse those who would interfere with cosmic cycles. Ahead lies the bridge, no longer merely concrete and stone, but awakening to its true purpose as nexus between worlds, hours before the celestial alignment peaks. The convoy approaches the bridge under cover of pre-dawn darkness. Apache drives with methodical precision, his military training resurfacing as they near the culmination point. Beside him, Mara breathes through intensifying contractions, the first true labor signs since her discovery 12 months ago. "They're preparing," she whispers, hands cradling her luminous abdomen, sensing the threshold. In the vehicle behind them, Dr. Reyes monitors energy readings that continue climbing beyond measurable scales. Marcus maintains communication with tribal allies and scans for government frequencies. The bridge comes into view, transformed from ordinary structure into something otherworldly. The concrete glows with internal light, petroglyphs shifting continuously across its surface. The air around it shimmers with distortion effects, reality itself seeming to bend. "My God," Dr. Reyes breathes as they park at safe distance. Her scientific mind struggles to categorize what her instruments detect. The energy signatures match nothing in recorded physics. Apache secures the perimeter, while Marcus deploys counter-surveillance measures. Their position offers clear sightlines and multiple escape routes if needed. "Government convoy detected," Marcus reports, monitoring modified radar system. "Multiple vehicles, heavy equipment. Estimated arrival, 45 minutes. Apache retrieves his father's rifle from its case, checking the mechanism with practiced hands. The wooden stock bears generations of wear, smooth from decades of handling. By Navarro men. His grandfather claimed it had taken down both mundane threats and shadows from beyond, a weapon blessed to protect the bloodline. "Will you use that?" Mara asks, watching his preparations. "Only if necessary," Apache responds, loading the rifle with specialized ammunition. Marcus provided rounds designed to disable electronics and vehicles rather than harm personnel. Dr. Reyes organizes medical supplies near the bridge center, identified by Mara as optimal birth location. Ancient symbols beneath that spot glow brightest, pulsing in rhythm, matching Mara's contractions. This defies medical explanation, Dr. Reyes admits, scientific curiosity overriding fear of the unknown. The birth appears synchronized with astronomical alignment. Marcus interrupts with urgent update. Apache, they're moving faster than expected. And they've brought heavy firepower military-grade equipment beyond standard operations. Apache studies tactical display showing approaching forces. They're treating this like hostile engagement. Because that's exactly what Ward believes. It is, comes a new voice. They turn to find Gabriel approaching on foot, somehow having reached the bridge undetected despite his age. With him comes unexpected reinforcement, a dozen tribal members carrying traditional weapons alongside modern firearms. The council voted unanimously, Gabriel explains. This bridge stands on ancestral land. The Star Children will be born under protection of the people. The tribal guardians take strategic positions, their movements suggesting military training beneath ceremonial appearance. Several begin constructing temporary barriers from natural materials, others preparing traditional medicines, Apache positions. Himself at bridge entrance, establishing defensive perimeter with Marcus. Through binoculars, he observes dust clouds from approaching vehicles, government forces closing rapidly. 12 minutes to intercept. Marcus estimates dot inside the bridges. Protective arch. Mara's labor intensifies. The mass within her shifts visibly beneath her skin, the glow brightening until her entire body seems illuminated from within. Dr. Reyes assists while tribal women perform ancient birthing songs. The children are aligning with cosmic forces, Gabriel explains, observing from respectful distance. Their emergence must synchronize precisely with stellar conjunction. Apache's communication device crackles with incoming transmission, unexpected contact from approaching forces. Ranger Navarro, this is Colonel James Ward, Department of Defense Special Projects Division. The voice carries authority hardened by decades of classified operations. We've met before, though you wouldn't remember. White Sands Facility, 2007. Apache exchanges glance with Mara, who nods confirmation. He was there. Observer during early tests. I know what you're protecting, Navarro, Ward continues. More importantly, I know what she is. What's growing inside her. We've been tracking these visitations for generations. Then you know interfering with the birth is dangerous, Apache responds. What's dangerous is allowing uncontrolled contact with non-terrestrial intelligence. Ward's tone remains measured but resolute. These entities have their own agenda. Humanity needs protection. They're children, Apache counters. My children. They're hybrids designed to create permanent gateway between dimensions. Do you understand the implications? Every previous cycle has brought limited contact. This one changes everything. The bridge structure vibrates suddenly, emitting low humming sound that penetrates bone and earth. Above, the sky lightens with approaching dawn, but unusual celestial phenomena override natural illumination. Twin stars becoming visible despite daylight, precisely aligned over the bridge. Mara cries out, not in pain but recognition. There? Here, she announces as reality itself seems to bend around them. Apache turns to see multiple government vehicles cresting the ridge. Tactical teams deploying with practiced efficiency. Colonel Ward steps from lead vehicle, bullhorn in hand. Final. Warning, Navarro. Surrender the woman, or we engage. Apache raises his father's rifle, ancestors' obligation and personal commitment fusing into single purpose. She's not yours to take. The desert air crackles with tension. Government forces establish perimeter around the bridge, tactical teams, positioning with military precision. Apache and his allies hold defensive formation at the structure's entrance, while Mara's labor intensifies within. Last chance, Navarro, Colonel Ward calls through amplified speaker. That woman carries technology. beyond your understanding. She carries my children, Apache responds, rifle steady in experienced hands. Ward signals his teams to advance. Marcus activates countermeasures electromagnetic pulses, disabling communication equipment and vehicle electronics. Tribal guardians release arrows carrying smoke compounds that fill the approach with disorienting haze. The first engagement erupts non-lethal but determined. Government forces fire suppression rounds, while Apache's group maintains strategic defense. Their objective isn't victory, but delay holding position until the celestial alignment completes. Inside the bridge, Mara's labor progresses with supernatural speed. The mass within her has fully separated into distinct entities, their movement visible through her illuminated skin. Dr. Reyes abandons scientific protocol for intuitive assistance, as conventional medicine proves inadequate for this extraordinary birth. The alignment peaks in 9 minutes, Gabriel announces, reading ancient calendar against current sky. The twin stars overhead pulse in rhythm with Mara's contractions, their light penetrating the bridge structure to cast precise patterns on the ground beneath her. Apache exchanges covering fire with government forces, using his father's rifle, with surgical precision disabling equipment without harming personnel. Years of military training merge with Ranger's knowledge of terrain, allowing him to predict and counter tactical approaches. Ward recognizes the defensive strategy. "They're playing for time," he shouts to his lieutenant. "We need direct access. Prepare specialized team for extraction." An elite unit breaks from main force, utilizing advanced equipment to counter Apache's defenses. They move with coordinated efficiency that speaks of classified training beyond conventional military. At a bridge entrance, Apache finds himself directly confronting Ward as tactical teams create diversion on flanks. The colonel approaches with determination of man who has pursued this moment for decades. "You don't understand what's at stake," Ward says, sidearm leveled at Apache. "These visitors have been manipulating human genetics for millennia, creating bloodlines like yours for their purposes." "And what's your purpose?" Apache counters, rifle unwavering. "Weapons? Power? Survival." Ward responds with unexpected conviction. "I've seen what comes through these gateways. Not all visitors are benevolent." Their standoff continues as extraordinary phenomena intensify around them. The bridge structure vibrates at increasing frequency, petroglyphs glowing so brightly they're visible in daylight. The air shimmers with distortion effects, reality thinning at convergence point. Inside, Mara cries out a sound beyond pain or effort, more like recognition. Her body arches as the birth begins in earnest, luminous energy. Surrounding her, the veil thins, Gabriel announces, ancient words flowing as he conducts protection ceremony. The pathway opens. Apache hears Mara's cry and makes split-second decision. He strikes Ward with rifle butt precise blow that incapacitates without permanent damage, then sprints toward bridge interior, drawn by instinct deeper than conscious thought. He arrives as temporal distortion reaches peak intensity. Time itself seems to stretch and compress simultaneously. Moments extend into eternities, then collapse into microseconds. Apache experiences fragments of existence outside linear progression, past, present, and future overlapping in kaleidoscopic vision. Through this disorientation, he witnesses miracle unfolding. Mara's body illuminated from within, Dr. Reyes and tribal women assisting as first child emerges, a boy with copper skin and eyes reflecting starlight. Seconds later, twin sister follows, identical markings across their foreheads matching bridge. Petroglyphs dot as newborns draw first breath. Temporal distortion reaches crescendo. The bridge structure transforms completely concrete and stone, then materializing into pure energy, creating protective dome around birth site. Government forces find themselves unable to penetrate this barrier, weapons and equipment malfunctioning. In its presence, Within this sanctuary, time moves differently. Apache experiences entire lifetime in heartbeats raising children, teaching them desert ways, watching them grow. Then reality shifts again, collapsing these possibilities into single point of decision. Mara holds their newborns, exhausted yet transcendent. They're perfect, she whispers, as Apache kneels beside them. Bridge makers. The twins' skin glows with subtle luminescence, their eyes holding wisdom impossible for newborns. They reach simultaneously for Apache, tiny fingers touching his face. With unexpected purpose, contact floods his consciousness with understanding beyond words, visions of stars, civilizations, purpose spanning time itself. The knowledge their touch conveys answers questions he never thought to ask. Outside the energy dome, Ward regains consciousness to witness phenomenon beyond classified briefings or previous encounters. The bridge has become something else entirely, gateway between worlds visibly opening above the structure. Through this aperture, impossible light streams downward, surrounding Mara and the twins in protective embrace. Apache stands at threshold of decision, 1 foot in each world, as Mara looks to him with question that needs no words. Stay or go. 1 week after the bridge event. Apache's cabin has transformed from solitary retreat to family dwelling. Handcrafted cradles hold sleeping twin Sky and Terra, named in ceremony performed by Elder Gabriel. 3 days after their extraordinary birth, Dr. Rios examines the infants with careful reverence, her scientific equipment confirming what is. Visibly apparent, these children develop at accelerated rate, already displaying awareness and responsiveness of much older infants. Their cellular structure is unlike anything in medical literature, she observes, documenting findings in journal, kept separate from official records. Human foundation with integrated elements beyond current classification. Apache watches from doorway, still adjusting to fatherhood thrust upon him through cosmic intervention. The twins' copper skin bears subtle luminescence visible in darkness. Their eyes reflect starlight with unusual clarity, and matching birthmarks on their foreheads precisely mirror central petroglyphs from the bridge. The investigation has been officially closed, Marcus reports, arriving with news from government channels. All records classified above top secret. Ward has disappeared from official positions. Disappeared or reassigned? Apache questions. Unclear. But the energy signature from the bridge event was detected globally. Too many witnesses for complete suppression. The bridge itself has returned to ordinary appearance, concrete and stone weathered by desert conditions. Only those present during alignment witnessed its transformation into dimensional gateway. Petroglyphs remain changed, however, now permanently recording the twins' birth in ancient symbolic language. Mara's recovery progresses with same accelerated healing that characterized her pregnancy. She moves through the cabin with newfound purpose, her connection to the children manifesting as intuitive understanding of their needs before they express them. That evening, as desert sunset paints canyon walls, Apache and Mara sit on porch watching stars emerge. The twins sleep peacefully inside, monitored by Dr. Reyes, who has taken temporary residence in guest room to continue documentation. Colonel Ward wasn't entirely wrong, Mara says after comfortable silence. Contact between worlds carries risks alongside benefits. Is that why you stayed? Apache asks the question that has lingered since the choice at bridge. To monitor the gateway? During the alignment's peak, when dimensional barriers thinned completely, Mara had opportunity to return to her origin point with the twins. Instead, she chose to remain, the gateway closing after transferring something else knowledge, rather than physical travelers. Partly, she acknowledges. The children need both worlds to fulfill their purpose. They're the first bridge makers to remain on Earthside after birth. Apache considers this alongside visions he experienced during their birth, glimpses of possible futures, where the twins' unique abilities manifest as they mature. Their existence permanently alters interaction between dimensions, creating stable connection where only temporary apertures existed before. And the other part? He asks, sensing deeper reasons for her decision. Mara takes his hand, the gesture now familiar and essential. Some connections transcend cosmic purpose. What grew between us wasn't part of original design. It became something more. Their relationship, forged through extraordinary circumstances, has evolved into partnership neither could have anticipated. Love emerged alongside duty, personal choice alongside predetermined path. The subtle sound of Gabriel's walking stick announces the elder's approach before he appears around cabin corner. He carries ceremonial bundle containing soil from bridge, site mixed with elements from twins' birth. For their protection, he explains, presenting the mixture, to be placed above their cradles, reminds them of both origins. After Gabriel departs, Apache finds Mara standing over sleeping twins. Their tiny hands reach toward each other even in sleep, connection between them tangible and profound. What happens now? He asks, arm encircling her waist. They grow, learn both heritages, develop abilities as bridge makers. She leans against him, practical certainty balanced with wonder. And we guide them, protect them from those who would misuse their gifts. Ward will return, Apache notes, security concerns never fully absent. Others like him. Yes, but will. Be ready. Mara touches pendant at her throat. Connection to her origin still active though subtle. My people watch. Your people guard. Together we form protective circle. Their family represents unprecedented convergence, cosmic cycles, and personal choice. Predetermined destiny and free will. Extraterrestrial intelligence and human resilience combined in delicate balance. Later, as desert night deepens, Dr. Reyes captures first official family photograph Apache and Mara seated together, twins cradled between them. The image seems ordinary until closer examination reveals subtle luminescence surrounding all four figures, visible only when light strikes a particular angle. Apache studies the photograph, understanding its significance as documentation of new beginning. After 15 years of isolation following personal tragedy, he has become center of family, formed through cosmic intervention. Outside, coyotes sing to desert stars. Inside, twins dream of bridges between worlds. And in the space between, Apache and Mara create new pattern together, one written neither in stars nor sand, but in shared purpose and unexpected love. This is just the beginning, Mara whispers, as they watch twin stars appear in early evening sky, perfectly aligned above their home.